It's our pleasure now to welcome the Secretary of State for Transport, Grant Shapps, to the show. So good morning, Grant.
Good morning.
Can you talk us through exactly what this means? When will people be able to book their holidays?
Yeah, so from the 19th of July, we'll be able to have people travel to amber list countries. That's the vast majority of the countries in the world, actually, without the need, as they've had to do up until now, to quarantine when they get home, as long as they've been double vaccinated before they go. That's double vaccination, and wait 14 days actually to be fully vaccinated. And that way you will not have to quarantine. You will still need to take tests before you leave the country and before you and after you arrive back here in the UK, and that's how it will operate.
There's a bit of contention over what it means to be vaccinated, because, of course, this only applies to people so far who've been vaccinated within the United Kingdom by the NHS, and people who've been vaccinated overseas don't get the same privileges in terms of skipping that quarantine. Why are vaccines administered in this country prioritised over those administered abroad?
Yeah, simply for the phase one for the time being, because we can demonstrate it easily. If you download the full NHS app, that's not the COVID one, just the full NHS app, it will show your vaccine status in there, or you can dial 119. You can get it on a paper form. So we're able to administratively see that it's been that you've had the vaccine. For people who are being vaccinated abroad, of course, if they've been vaccinated with a World Health Organization, WHO, recognized vaccine, then of course we want the systems to be able to recognize that. It's a little bit more difficult than it sounds. For Europe, it should be relatively straightforward. They're also going down the digital route, something similar to our NHS app. For America, though, they have 50 different states, all using actually largely paper-based systems. So it's much harder to integrate it with the passenger locator form. We need to do some more work on that, and we're doing that work, and we'll be saying more about it in the next few weeks. So phase one, we wanted to get this going. It's the easiest part to do because we're in control of it.
What's the government's messaging has been somewhat mixed, I would say, across this pandemic, especially as it relates to travel, and people have had quite a lot of uncertainty, not least the travel sector, who we speak to quite a lot on this channel. There was a point where you were saying, you know, we don't recommend going abroad, but you can if you really want to. I mean, now that we're opening up, are you encouraging people to perhaps try and get back to normal and start booking their holidays as normal? Or is your message still, perhaps don't go on holiday, but you can if you fancy it?
Yeah, so we are, if you like, trying to learn to live with coronavirus now in this country. The fourth stage of the unlock, due on the 19th of July, we'll confirm it next Monday, hopefully that it's going ahead. And, you know, we know that in years to come, certainly months to come, possibly years to come, we're going to have to learn to live with this virus, and vaccinations are an important part of it, and people will be able to travel again. And so at the same time on the 19th of July, as saying people who are double vaccinated, fully vaccinated, won't need to quarantine, we will also be changing the guidance and saying that you can travel to those countries for holiday. Or, of course, to see families. A lot of people have families abroad who haven't seen them for months or years even. It's not just all about holidays. So, yeah, that advice will also change to say, right, it's back to you to decide, as an individual, as a family, if you wish to travel again. You still will have to follow these strict rules, including getting tests, but you won't need to quarantine from those countries.
There's still a little bit of uncertainty, of course. This is something you mentioned at the dispatch box yesterday, that there's still the opportunity for amber list countries to move to that red list, so people's holidays may still be interrupted. I noted that you introduced what was called the green watch list a few weeks ago of countries that may move to amber. Is there any consideration to make a red watch list, potentially, of those amber countries that are most at risk of moving to red, so that people can make the most informed decisions when booking holidays?
Well, we're trying to be as sort of open with the information that we've got as possible, because the problem with coronavirus is things, as we've seen many times over the months and years now, tend to move very quickly, and you suddenly find that there's a quickly increasing caseload somewhere, or a variant of concern, for example. So we'll always keep the system under review, and it is, as I mentioned at the dispatch box, and you just recalled, the chance that an amber list country does have to move rapidly to red, we cannot rule that out. I think probably the most important point of all, other than say, of course, we'll keep the system under review all the time, but the most important point is when you book, please check your terms and conditions. Make sure you can refund. Make sure you can
be making a watch list.
That's not going to cost you money.
Will the government be making a watch list to show the countries that might be moving to red, like you do with the green list, to show the countries that might be moving?
Yeah, so almost like an amber watch list. The answer is not for the time being, but we will continue to keep it under review. And in terms of the system changing, the 31st of July is the checklist date for the system itself. So if we were going to make changes to the red, amber, green system, watch lists and the rest of it, then the 31st of July would be the time to do that. So I can at least tell you when we will be looking at it, not the answer to what we'll be doing though.
Transport Secretary, you'll be well aware of the shortage there is at the moment of lorry drivers. This is something you've been trying to address, and in fact, you said from Monday you'll sort of be relaxing the rules. There's an estimated shortage, by the way, of up to 100,000, some are saying. You said you're going to be relaxing the rules to allow lorry drivers to work longer hours, relaxing those sort of work hours limits. Some are saying that that's papering over the cracks. We're going to be speaking to somebody from the Road Haulage Association after we speak to you who's actually listening to this conversation. I mean, what did you say to people working in that industry who were saying that's a bit of a rubbish solution, really? You're just saying, well, you guys just work longer. You have to work longer because the industry's been severely affected. I mean, surely that's not a very effective and sustainable solution.
It's not the solution. That's absolutely right. And we're not saying that it's the solution either. And it actually requires a number of different things to happen, including training within the industry itself, making sure that, for example, people are able to get the tests that they require. There's been quite a backlog because of coronavirus in testing as well. So there's a whole package of things that we'll be doing, of which this is just an initial thing. We don't want to see this as any kind of long-term solution at all. We are working with the Road Haulage Association and others on this issue. We do want to see the situation resolved. Coronavirus has created quite a big backlog, as has been said, both in training and in testing. And we're going to back, for example, schemes like the one that we've worked with, actually with the Road Haulage Association, to bring people into the sector who haven't necessarily thought of driving previously, and also increasing the amount of money that people can get, up to £7,000 for the apprenticeship programme as well. But there are many other things that we're going to be doing as well, and we're determined to work with the sector to make sure that there are enough hauliers and lorry drivers around.
Well, transport is one of those issues that have come right to the fore because of coronavirus. So I'm sure everyone at home is hanging on to your every word in a way that perhaps is more important now than ever before. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and do come back.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.